recording here, and I'm going to share the screen so that you can see it. Here we go. And I'm just going to get a pen and a paper so I can write some of this down myself. Okay, so this is number 6, and it says 9 less than 4 times a number is the same as 7 times the number. Find the number. Okay, 9 less than 4 times a number is the same as 7 times the number. Okay, find the number. Okay, perfect. So I tell you what I'm going to do here. Let me see if I can do this. Here we go. And do it like this. Let's see. This time I'm going to copy this and look, I'm going to go look at this. Yes, I did. Okay, so I'll tell you what. So this is what I'm going to do now. Let's see. Let me stop sharing this and let me share this right here. So let's see. Okay, so I see Brenda joined. So Brenda, what I'm doing here, I'm doing some of the homework problems out of 3.2. So Serena asked me if I would do number 6, and I'm definitely happy to do number 6. All I did here, guys, is just a little copy and paste. So I just copied the problem from the homework and I pasted it here so that I can actually share the screen with you and I can write it out. Okay, so the hardest part to me in doing all these problems is just kind of going from this part right here to the equation. Okay, so to me, you can, when you're doing a problem like this, you can decide wherever you want to start. So one thing I might do is I might look at this problem and I might see the word is, and I know is means equals. So I'm going to start right there because that's something that I know. And then over here it says, well, is the same as, right? So this whole thing means equals. 7 times the number. So 7 times the number would be 7x. Okay, so now when I get to this piece over here where it says 9 less than 4 times the number. So what I'm really going to do first, I'm going to do 4 times the number. So 4 times the number would be 4x. If it's 9 less than that, I'm going to go minus 9. Okay. So now I've gotten to this step. This here was the part of taking that sentence and writing it out as an equation. So what I'm going to do now, I'm trying to solve for x, right? So solve for x. So I'm going to get my x's all on the same side. So if you've watched the videos, I usually put a little line like this because I have x's on both sides. So I'm going to move the smaller x to the bigger x. Okay. So I'm going to do this, and those 4 x's are going to cancel. This is going to give me a minus 9 equals, let's see, 7 minus 4 is going to leave me with a 3x. And then I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by the number 3. And so x is will be here, and negative 9 divided by 3 is just a negative 3, right? And so if I stop sharing this part here, and I go back to my actual homework problem. So if I come back to, let's see, where were we? Right here. Okay, so here I'm just going to type in the number is, I'm going to say negative 3, which is what we came up with. So I'm going to check my answer, and there we go. So I think a big part of it is trying to figure out how do I go from the sentence to the equation. So look, let's try to do this one here. We'll go about it the same way. And so I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to do a little copy and paste. So let me, that part here, let me copy this. And stop sharing this part with you guys. Come back to my notes. Here we go. And right here, I'm just going to hit paste. Okay. And yes, you guys can see this part. Okay, so this is the next problem in the list, right? And it just says a motorcycle shop maintains an inventory of 3 times as many new bikes as used bikes. Okay, so when I read that first part right there, it tells me 3 times as many new bikes as used bikes. So we're talking about how many new bikes we have compared to how many used bikes. So we have 3 times as many new bikes as we do used bikes. So I'm going to let X be the number of used bikes, right? And then 3X would be the number of new bikes, because we have 3 times as many new as we do used. Okay, so now it says there are 66 new bikes. Okay, so I'm going to write this out, 66. Remember, that's the number of new bikes. But remember what we're also calling the number of new bikes. We're calling the number of new bikes 3x. So 3x is equal to 66, and I'm trying to find how many used bikes I'm going to have, which is just my x. What I'm going to do here, y'all, is I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by the number 3. And so 66 divided by 3 would give me something like 22, right? So right here, I would just write in the number 22. So I think a big part of these problems is breaking down from the English sentence to kind of like the algebra sentence, okay? So let me go ahead and write that in for our answer for, I think this was number 7. So let me stop sharing this one, and then I'll come back and pull up, let's see, here we go. And okay, so right here we said we had the number 22, and we're going to go chickadee check. Perfect. Okay, and so if it's cool with you guys, I'll get 2 more problems here out of 3-2, so we can do these. And then if you have any specific questions that I didn't get from 3-2, we can definitely do that. Or if there's a question from any of the other previous sections, I'm happy to do those as well. And we can, hopefully we can get to some of 3.3 as well, okay? So let me try this one here. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a little copy and paste. Okay, that or this. Let me stop sharing this one, and let's share the other one. Go. Okay, and paste. Okay. So for this next one here, it says the sale price of a new compact disc player is $206 at a local discount store. At the store where the sale is going on, each new CD is on sale for $12 each. If Kyle purchases a player and some CDs for $302, how many CDs did he purchase? Okay, so let's think about how much money Kyle is going to spend. So he's going to buy the player, and he's going to buy some CDs, okay? So since we're looking for the number of CDs, we're going to let X be the number of CDs, right? Okay, so then the first thing says he's going to buy the player. So the player we already know is $206. $206. And then for every CD, they're $12 a piece. And we know that he spent a total of $302. So we want to figure out how many CDs did he buy. So the first thing we're going to do, because we're trying to get this X by itself, is we're going to worry first about getting the 12X by itself, okay? Come on, Tim. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 206. those will cancel. And that's going to leave me with a 12x is equal to, so if I take my calculator and I take 302, let me do this on my phone real quick because I got it over here on the side. So let me see, 302 minus 206. That's leaving me with 96. And then my last step is to go ahead and divide both sides by the number 12. And let's see, so if I take 96 and I divide it by 12, I'm coming up with 8. Okay, so 8 CDs, right? So when I come back to my actual problem, and I share the screen, so Esmer, I see you're here too. So Esmer, I'm just doing some homework problems out of 3.2 right now. Okay, and so we came up with 8, and I'm going to go chickadee check, and there we go. Okay, so I'll tell you what. Let's do number 9, and then again, if y'all have any other questions out of anything, either here out of 3.2 or any of the other sections, I think we had 2.3, 2.4, 3.1, 3.2, and then 3.3. I'll get to those as well. Okay. So if you can think of any problems or you knew that you had any problems, just let me know, and I'll do that one. Do any of those as soon as we get done with this one here. Okay, so let me stop this, get out there, copy this one here, stop sharing this piece, and come to this one here. Okay, so let's take a look at this last problem here out of 3.2. And it says, Nicole is hosting a large bridal shower for her friend and has $195 in her budget to rent a facility. The facility she chose for the party requires a $78 deposit plus $52 per hour. If there is no damage to the facility, 1/2 of the deposit is refunded. If Nicole expects to get the deposit refund, for how many hours can she rent the facility for the bridal shower? Okay, so the question is asking us how many hours can she rent, right? So X here is going to be the number of hours, okay? So first thing we know is that there's a $78 deposit, right? But we know that she's going to get half of that back. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, it's not really a $78 deposit if she's guaranteed to get it back, right? Or she says she's going to get it back. So we're going to divide it by 2 because we're going to get half of it back, right? So half of it back would be 39. Okay, so this is really going to be her deposit here because we know she's going to get the other $39 back, right? So now let's figure out how much money Nicole is going to spend. So she's going to spend $39 on her deposit and then $52 per hour. So that's going to be 52 times X, and that's going to add up to her budget of $195. Okay? And so now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract 39 because we're trying to get the X by itself. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of those. And that'll leave me with a 52x is equal to, and we'll take our calculator, we'll go 195 minus 39 is, I'm coming up with a 156 right here. And then our last step is to go ahead and divide everything by 52. And so we'll take 156 and we'll divide it by 52. And I'm coming up with a nice pretty number like 3. And since we're looking for the number of hours, we would say 3 hours, right? And so I'll stop sharing this part and I'll come back to my actual problem. And here we go. Okay, so right here, guys, I would just type in the number 3. We'll go check and awesome. Okay. All right, so we went through 6, 7, 8, and 9 out of 3.2. I'm happy to go on to 3.3, but did you all have any other questions out of any of the other homework sections that you want? Oops. All right, yes, let's get out here. Did y'all have any homework questions out of any of the other sections that you wanted me to do? So let me click back here on assignments. Okay. So let's see. So for this week, we're doing 2-3, 2-4, 3-1, 3-2, 3-3, and then obviously the midterm review. And tomorrow, I mean, guys, I can answer questions from here too, but I was going to specifically do that tomorrow. But I'm game for answering any of these questions as well. So did anybody have any questions out of like 3-1 or 2?
I'm looking for one, but I can't find it.
Do you remember anything about the question?
Yeah.
Was it like a word problem, or was it like an actual just like solve this equation?
Let me look for it.
Okay, take your time. Take your time.
I'll get back to you.
Okay, as she's looking for the question, I'll tell you what. Why don't I jump into 3.3, and I get questions out of there, and then again, once you find your question, let me know, and we'll go back to that one. Okay. Let's see. Let me get 3.3 here. Okay, here. There we go. Right. Go to screen. Here we go. Okay. So let's see. So this is 3.3, and I was going to do again. I was just start working through these here. And again, if you have a specific question, just tell me, and you know that I'll be more than happy to go over it. So let me copy this. Copy. Go. Stop sharing this one. Come back to this one. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so this is number 1 out of 3.3. And it says, for their homecoming parade, the students of UMass have created a colorful banner 40 meters in length that is made of 2 pieces of parachute material. The short piece is 18 meters shorter than the long piece. Find the length of each piece. Okay, so we know that we have a banner that's a total of 40 meters, right? And it's made up of 2 pieces. We have a short piece here, and then we have a longer piece here, okay? Now, it says right here, the short piece is 18 meters shorter than the long piece. So guys, and these problems here that are dealing with the comparisons, when we're dealing with the comparison, whichever one we are describing, or whichever one we don't know anything about, that's the one we're going to be calling X, okay? So if you notice right here, we're talking about the short piece, but we're comparing it to the long piece. So I'm going to say let X be the length of the long piece, and the short piece, if it's 18 meters shorter than that, then X minus 18 will be the short piece, okay? So we have 2 pieces. So when I set up my equation, I should see the letter X twice. So we're first going to take the short piece, which is X minus 18. And then we're going to add the long piece, which is just X. And that's going to add up to the total length, which is 40, okay? So again, there's 2 things I don't know, so I see the letter X twice. So X and another X is going to leave me with a 2X minus 18 is now equal to 40. And then to get my X by itself, I'm going to undo the minus 18 by adding it to both sides. And that's going to leave me with 2X is equal to, so let's see, 40 and 18 is going to leave me with a total of 58. Okay. And now we're going to divide both sides by 2. So I'm going to take my calculator again. I'm just going to do this on the side here, guys. So I'm just taking 58 and dividing it by 2. And I'm coming up with 29, right? Okay, so now that I came up with 29, we need to figure out what that means. So when I come back to my problem, remember what X stood for? X stood for the length of the long piece. So the long piece is 29 meters, and the short piece is going to be 29 minus 18, because we said it was 18 less, and that's going to be 11 meters, right? So here are my two values, right? So I'm going to stop sharing this piece here, and I'm going to come back to my problem. What was it? Here we go. Okay, so we said the length of the long piece, the number we came up with was 29, so we're going to hit 29, perfect. And the length of the short piece, we said 29 minus 18, which was 11. And we're going to check it as well, and we got it, okay? Okay, perfect. So I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and copy this one, and we'll keep working here. And again, I'm hoping as we're going through these guys, they're kind of making sense. And like I said, you know, my values that I'm coming up with here, my numbers might be different from yours, but the problem is going to be the same, right? And one thing I told y'all in one of the messages that I sent you guys, the message I sent you all about the test, is that the test has 27 questions that come directly out of the review, right? So I'm just going to kind of make this up. Like if this was a question on the review, this one here about James and Lynn, if this problem was on your review and then this problem happened to be also on your test, it's going to be the same exact problem. What's going to be different? The $3,200 and the $82,080. That's the only part that's going to be different, right? So I try to make it very straightforward. No bad surprises, right? Good surprises, hopefully not bad ones. Let's see. Okay, so let's take a look here. James and Lynn got married and got new jobs. Lynn earns $3,200 more per year than James. Together, they earn $82,080. How much does each of them earn per year? Okay, so this part right here is really important. We're talking about how much money Lynn earns, but we're comparing it to how much money James earns. Since I have no idea how much money James earns, that's what I'm going to let my X be. I'll call this James' salary. Okay. So if Lynn earns $3,200 more, that means she's going to make whatever James makes plus another $3,200. And that's Lynn's salary, right? Okay. Now, the next piece here says together they earn $82,800. So that means the amount of money that James makes, which is X, plus the amount of money that Lynn makes, which is X plus 3,200, has to be equal to $82,080. So I said this in the video, but the one thing I really want to emphasize, y'all, is that if I'm looking for two things here, like how much James earns and how much Lynn earns, I should see the letter X twice in my problem, okay? So I see the letter X twice, so X plus another X will leave me with a 2X plus, plus 3,200 is equal to 82,080. So again, the next thing I need to do is I need to get rid of my 3,200, so let's subtract that. And I'm coming up with 2X is equal to, I'm just going to take my calculator again. Let's see, fill this out, 82,080 minus 3,200. And I'm coming up with $78,880. And the last step is we're going to divide both sides by the number 2. So if I take this and divide it by 2, coming up with 39,440, okay? So now we found the value of X, but I want to make sure that I understand what does X really stand for, right? So when I come back up here, let's see, here we go. X stood for James's salary, right? So James is going to make 39,440. Lynn is going to make 39,440 plus another 3,200, which is, let me add that in there, 3,200. She's going to make 42,640, right? So here's James' salary right here, and here is Lynn's salary, right? So let me go back to the actual problem and enter those numbers in. So 39,440, okay. 39,440, there we go. Okay, so we said here 39,440, and Lynn made 42,640. And we're going to go to, guys, before I do anything else, I want you to notice I didn't put the little comma, like for the thousands. It doesn't matter, okay? So you don't have to worry about the commas. And there we go. Okay, so guys, I'm going to keep working. Let me ask you a question before I go on. So let me stop sharing this real quick. Okay, before I go on, are we doing okay, or am I doing okay in how these problems are coming out? Am I missing any steps? Were you guys able to follow along? I just want to make sure that we're good.
No, yeah, really good, really good. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Yes, you're doing good.
Okay, just checking with you guys. At any point in time, guys, if you have a question, please don't hesitate to ask me. Just interrupt me. I'm totally fine with that. Okay. So let me copy that next problem, and again, guys, if you guys have a specific problem you want me to do, don't be shy. Tell me, and I'm happy to do it. Okay. So let me copy this one. Go. And let's go here. So you guys can see that already. So we go here. Oops. Whoa. Go here and let's paste. All right. Okay. So this next problem says 3 siblings, Dave, Kate, and Sarah, committed themselves to volunteer 195 hours for a homeless charity to build new housing. Sarah worked 25 hours more than Dave, and Kate worked 10 hours fewer than Dave. How many hours did each of these 3 siblings volunteer? Okay, so we know we have 3 siblings. We have Dave, we have Kate, and we have Sarah. Okay. So when I start reading through the problem, and I'm reading right here, it says Sarah worked 25 hours more than Dave. So I'm talking about Sarah's hours, but I'm comparing her hours to Dave. Since I have no idea how many hours Dave worked, I'm going to let Dave's hours be X, right? And so then Sarah worked 25 hours more than Dave. So Sarah is going to be 25 plus X. I could also write it like this, guys. X plus 25, okay? Now it says Kate worked 10 hours fewer than Dave, okay? So again, we're talking about Kate's hours, but we're comparing them to Dave. It says she worked 10 hours fewer. So however many hours Dave worked, Kate worked 10 hours less than that. Okay? Now let's see, it says right here that they worked a total of 195 hours. Okay, so just like I said before, y'all, we have 3 people here. So as I'm doing my problem, when I write out my equation, I should see the letter X 3 times, okay? So we're going to take Dave's hours plus Kate's hours plus Sarah's hours, and that has to add up to 195. So Dave's hours are X, Kate's hours are X minus 10, and Sarah's hours, I'm just going to go ahead and use this one, but it doesn't really matter, X plus 25. And that has to add up to 195, okay? So again, I see the letter X 3 times, so let's combine them. X, X, and another X is a 3X, okay? Now we can combine the minus 10 and the plus 25, So remember, minus 10 plus 25. That means if I owed you $10 and I had $25 and I ran into you in the hallway and you said, pay me, and I gave you the $10 that I owed you, I would still be left with 15, right? It's 195. All right, so now we're going to solve for x, so we're going to get rid of this 15 by subtracting it. And we're going to end up with 3x. These are going to cancel. So 195 minus 15 is 180. And then we'll go ahead and divide both sides by 3. And x is coming up to 60, right? Okay, so we found x. X was 60. But we got to figure out what did that really mean, right? What was 60? Okay, that was Dave's hours, right? So Dave had a total of 60 hours. Okay. Kate had 60 minus 10. Kate had 50 hours. And Sarah had 60 plus 25. Sarah had 85 hours. Okay. So I now have each of their values, right? And so guys, when I'm doing these problems, just the way I'm doing it here, if I was sitting where you're sitting, so like if I was basically as a student in this class, this would be exactly the same way I would try to write it out, because then I can kind of keep track. So if you notice, and one thing I'm going to do before I go on is, before I got to, say, this piece right here, before I got to this piece, I had to kind of figure out how to do that part first, right? So the idea is, what I'm trying to show you here is exactly the same way that I would do it if I was a student, okay? Because this way I can at least kind of keep track of, what did X even stand for? So if I'm writing this part out right here, but I wasn't sure who X was X Dave, was X Kate, was X Sarah, then when I come up with my answers, I'm not sure, where they would go, right? Okay, so we have 60, 50, and 85. So let me come back to entering those numbers in so we can see if they work. And hopefully they do. Okay, so right here we said Dave was 60, right? There we go. And Kate was 50. There we go. And then Sarah, we said, was 85. And we got it, right? Okay, good deal. All right. So let me go ahead and do the same thing for this one. I'm going to do a little copy and paste. And let's see. There we go. Copy this part here. And stop sharing this one. And we'll come back over here. And we'll paste it. Whoa. Let me zoom in so we can see it. Okay. So this is the next one. I think this is number 4. And it says, a Midwestern music competition awarded 34 ribbons. Okay, the number of blue ribbons awarded was 1 less than the number of white ribbons. And the number of red ribbons was 2 more than the number of white ribbons. How many? Okay, so we have blue ribbons, we have white, we have blue, and we have red. Okay. So right here it says the number of blue ribbons was 1 number of white. I don't have no idea how many white ribbons we had, so I'm going to call that X. But if the blue ribbons was 1 less than that, then the blue ribbons would be X minus 1. And if the number of red ribbons was 2 more than the number of white, that would be X plus 2, right? So again, we have 3 different things here. So again, my equation, y'all should have 3 values, or 3, the letter X should appear 3 times, okay? So we're going to say the number of white ribbons, which is X, plus the number of blue ribbons, which is X minus 1, plus the number of red ribbons, which is X plus 2, That's going to add up to our total of 34. So again, I see my letter X 3 times. So that is a 3X. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and combine our -1 and our +2. So remember, -1 means I owe you $1, and I have 2. And if you say pay me, then I'm still left with $1. Okay. Now, since we're trying to solve for X, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 1 on each side. 3X is equal to, this is a 33. Okay. And then we can just go ahead and divide both sides by 3. And I'm coming up with X is equal to 11, right? All right. So then right here, y'all, I'm going to put X is 11. So this is the number of white ribbons. Okay. The number of blue is going to be, if it's 11 minus 1, that's going to be 10. So we'll have 10 blue ribbons. And then if it is 11 plus 2, this would be 13 red ribbons, right? Okay, so we have 11 white, 10 blue, and 13 red. So let me go back to my problem so that I can, enter numbers in. So first thing it's asking for is white ribbons. So let me see. For white ribbons, we have 11 of those. So 11 here. Check my answer. There we go. And then blue ribbons, which I want to say was at 10. And there we go. And red, I believe we said the answer was 13. And there we go. We got it. Okay. Good. All right.
Sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Esmeralda had a question.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Let me come back over here. Okay. Yes, Esmer, I see it. Okay, so let me come back to the problem, Esmer, and we will see if we can't figure it out. Okay. Let's come back here. Okay. All right. So let's see. I'll tell you what we'll do. We will do this. Let's see. Let's start here. Okay. So all I'm doing is I'm going to start off over here. I want to make sure that we're good. I'm glad that you asked, Esmer, because I want to make sure that we're all good here. Okay. Remember, the total is 34, right? And the first part says the number of blue ribbons was 1 less than the number of white. So we're talking about the blue ribbons, but we're comparing it to the white ones. Since I don't know anything about the white ribbons, I'm going to let that one be X, right? And then the blue ribbons would be, if it's 1 less, that would be X minus 1. And then it says the red ribbons was 2 more. So the red is going to be X plus 2, right? Now remember, we have 3 types of ribbons here, right? Since we have 3 types of ribbons, we're going to have the white ribbons plus the blues plus the blue ribbons plus the red ribbons, and that's going to add up to the number 34 because we have a total of 34. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to say, look, the white ribbons, we're calling those X. The blue ribbons, we're calling those X minus 1. And the red ribbons, we're calling those X plus 2. Okay, so before I go on, Ezra, am I doing okay so far at this point? Okay, we're good. Excellent. Perfect. Okay, so let's keep going. So now remember what I'm going to do at this point. I'm going to combine my x's. So x, x, and x is a 3x. Okay, now the next part I need to worry about is, look, I need to worry about my -1 and my +2. So remember, -1 means I owe you $1. +2 means I have $2. So if I run into you at in the hallway and you say, hey, give me the $1 that you owe me, and I give you that $1, wouldn't I still have $1 in my pocket? So now at this step, I'm going to say, okay, I need to get the x by itself. So this is a +1, I'm going to go -1, right? And I think this is what you were asking about. How did I come up with the 34 minus 1? Because I'm trying to get this piece by itself, right? So let's see. I saw something in the chat. Let me come back over here. Okay, perfect, good. I'm glad it's working. So this is where we came up with our 33. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And we're coming up with x is 11, right? So again, remember what x stood for? X were the white ones, right? Good. So that's where we're putting that 11 right there, right? Excellent. And then the blue, if it's going to be 11 minus 1, that's how I'm coming up with the 10. And then for the red, it's going to be 11 plus 2, and that's how I'm coming up with the 13, right? So my white is 11, our blue is 10, and our reds are 13, right? So good, excellent question. I'm glad you asked me again. And my main goal, I really want to make sure that you guys feel okay about this stuff, so always ask, okay? Always ask. All righty, let me go ahead and copy that other problem, y'all, and we'll go through this one. Let's see, let's go new here, and let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And let's come back here. Okay. All right, so this is the next problem in the list. And it says, the length of a rectangular piece of steel in a bridge is 5 meters, less than double the width. The perimeter of the piece of steel is 26 meters. Find the length of the piece of steel and find the width of the piece of steel. Okay, so guys, anytime I have these kind of problems dealing with geometry or whatever, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a picture. It says that we have a rectangular piece of steel. Okay, so I'm going to draw, I'm going to draw a rectangle. Come on, pen. I'm going to draw a rectangle. So here's my rectangle. And it says the length here, we're talking about, the length, and we have the width. It says the length is 5 meters less than double the width. Okay, so we're talking about the length, but we're comparing it to the width. I don't know anything about the width, so I'm going to call the width x. Okay. Now the length is 5 meters less than double the width. So double the width would be, we're going to go 2x. And it's 5 meters less than that, then I'm going to go ahead and subtract 5. Okay. Now, the next thing is we're talking about the perimeter. Now, guys, the perimeter means what happens if I were to start walking and I were to walk all the way around this rectangle, okay? Well, if I already know that this side here is x, then this side is also going to be x. And if I know that the top part here is 2x minus 5, then that bottom part is also going to be 2x minus 5, okay? So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start adding the pieces together. And I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to kind of work my way all the way around, okay? So I'm going to have x from this piece, plus, I'm going to write this one out, 2x minus 5, plus, I'm going to add this piece over here, x, plus one more, 2x minus 5, excuse me, and that whole thing has to add up to 26, okay? Now, let's start adding up all the x's that we have. So look, x and 2x, that's going to leave me with a 3x, right? Minus 5. X and 2x, that's also going to leave me with a 3x minus 5 is equal to 26. I'm just kind of doing this in pieces, y'all, okay? So 3x and another 3x is going to leave me with a 6x. And then minus 5 and another minus 5. So guys, remember, this means I owe you $5. This means I borrow another 5. So now I'm going to owe you 10. All right. So now at this stage, if I'm trying to get the x by itself, I'm going to go ahead and go plus 10 on both sides. So 26 and 10 will add up to 36. And then I can go ahead and divide both sides by 6. Those will cancel, and 6 goes into 36 6 times, right? Okay, So now that we've gotten that piece, let's figure out what they're asking us to do. It's asking us to find the length and the width, right? So remember, the width was x. So I'm going to say the width is 6, and this is in meters, so I'm going to put 6 meters. And the length, remember what we were calling the length? We were calling it 2x minus 5. So I'm going to say this is 2 times 6. Oops. 2 times 6 minus 5, because I'm putting that 6 right in here. My pen. Okay, so 2 times 6 is 12, and 12 minus 5 is, what, 7 meters? So we found our width, oops, and we found our length, okay? So before I go on and check my answer, are we okay in how we got to that stage? Did I lose anybody anywhere? No, we're good? Okay, let me go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, sir. I was just wondering, when you did the 3x minus 5, were you just doing that for the sake of us, not to confuse us, or can we just, like, off the rip do 6x minus 10?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 6x minus, yeah, because that's what when I was doing this piece right here, let me show you. Guys, when I was doing this piece right here, going from, like, this step to this step, I just, like, so I looked at these and I said, oh, well, look, that's 3x, right? And I just brought this down. That's another 3x. But you could have said, look, x and 2x is 3x, 4x and another 2 is 6, and minus 5 and another minus 5 is a minus 10, and you would have kind of skipped that line right there.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, I just kind of went like slow, but either way you do it, you're going to get the same thing. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so guys, let me go ahead and enter those numbers into my problem, and we'll see if everything is working here. So let's see. Let's come back to this one. Okay, and we said that our width, width was 6. Yes, it was. And then we said our length, I want to say we said our length was 7. And perfect. Okay, so let me copy this one here. Go like this, and stop. And let's see, share. Come back over here. Excellent. All right. Okay. Oops. Okay, so guys, this problem here, almost identical to the one we just did. And the reason why I'm saying that is we're talking about a rectangle again, and we're still talking about the perimeter, okay? So it says, Rashu made a rectangular frame for her latest oil painting. The length is 28 centimeters more than triple the width. The perimeter of the frame is 144 centimeters. Find the length and the width of the frame. Okay, so here is my rectangle. And again, we're talking about the length, but we're comparing it to the width. Since I don't know anything about the width, I'm going to call that x. Then the length, if it is 28 centimeters more than triple the width would be 3x. And since it's 28 centimeters more, it's going to be a plus 28. So guys, just like we did before, if this side over here is x, then this side is x. And if the top piece is 3x plus 28, so is the bottom piece, right? And again, I'm just going to start adding, everything up, going around, right? So I'm going to have x plus 3x plus 28 plus another x plus 3x plus 28. And the whole perimeter that they gave us was 144. Okay. So look, x and 3x is 4x, 5x, 8x. Okay. Let's see, 28 and another 28 is going to add up to a 56. So this problem here, guys, let's just go ahead and combine them all in one step. And then now we can go ahead and get rid of our 56 by subtracting it. Okay. And so we're going to have 8x is equal to, I'm just going to take my calculator on the side again. So I'm going to go 144 minus 56. This is giving me an 88. So when we divide both sides by 8, we're coming up with x is equal to 11, right? Okay. So before we go on, are we good on how we got to where we're at? Anybody, any questions so far? If we're good, I'll keep going. If we're not, you can either speak up or you can put it in the chat, whichever works easier for you. So I'll keep going. So remember, we came up with x is 11. Now remember what x stood for. X was the width. Oops, I think I see something here in the chat or heard something. We're good. Awesome. Excellent. Okay, so let's see. The width we said was going to be 11 centimeters. Okay, now we're going to do the length. So guys, remember the length is 3x plus 28. But we already know that x is 11. So we're going to say 3 times 11 plus 28. You can think of this part here, y'all, it's kind of like the order of operations, right? I'm going to do my multiplying first. That's 33 plus 28. And that should add up to a total of 61. Okay? And so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing this part, and I'll come back to the actual problem. And oops, this is what I wanted. This one right here. Okay. And so we said the width was 11 centimeters. Check, good. And then for the length, I want to say we came up with 61. We'll check that one as well. Awesome. Very good. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to check to see what number 8 looks like. I'm just kind of curious. Okay. So number 11, same type of problem. So guys, is it cool with y'all if I skip, I'm sorry, number 7, is it cool with y'all if I skip number 7 because it's the same type of problem? It's still like, I'm still going to draw a picture. I'm still going to do my length and my width. Or if y'all want me to do it, I'm happy to do it. But I wanted to get to number 8 because it's slightly different. And I'll tell you what, let's do number 8 first. And if we have some time, then we will go back to number 7, okay? I just want to be able to do this one before we run out of time. Okay, so let me stop sharing this part here. Okay. And let's go here, let's go here and here. Nope, that's not what I want. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so this is the number 8, and it says the top running speed of a cheetah is double the top running speed of a jackal. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to read that part again. The speed of the cheetah is double the speed of the jackal. So we're talking about the cheetah, but we're comparing about to the jackal. We don't know anything about the jackal, so x is going to be the jackal's speed, right? And then the cheetah will be 2x. So 2x is the cheetah speed. And then we have another animal. We have the elk. And it says the top running speed of an elk is 11 miles an hour faster than that of the jackal. So x plus 11 is the elk's speed. Okay. If each of these 3 animals could run at top speed for an hour, they can run a combined distance of 139 miles. What is the top running speed of each of these 3 animals? Okay, so we're going to take the jackal speed and the cheetah's, and the cheetah's distance, right? And the elk's, and that's going to give me a total of 139 miles. Okay, so now let's go ahead and fill in those blanks. So the jackal speed is x, the cheetah speed is 2x, and the elk's is x plus 11. and that's got to add up to 139. So now, again, 3 animals, I see the letter X 3 times, right? So it's important that I see the letter X 3 times. It doesn't mean I'm going to get a 3X, but as long as the letter X occurs 3 times, okay? So X and 2X is 3X, and one more is a 4X. So 4X plus 11 equals 139. So now we can subtract 11 on both sides. And let's see. This is 128. So when we divide both sides by 4, X is going to be 32. Okay. So now all I'm going to do, y'all, is I'm going to fill in the blanks. The jackal speed is X, 32. The cheetah speed is 2 times 32, 64 miles an hour. And the elk speed is, is 32 plus 11, which is 43 miles an hour. Okay. And so now I'm just going to enter those values in, right? And let's see, let's come back here. And let's get the homework problem. Okay. So I want to say that we said the jackal was 32. Okay, so right here, I'm going to type in 32. There we go. The cheetah we said was 64. There we go. And the elk we said was something like 43. And there we go. Okay. So, so that was number 8 out of 3.3. So let me stop sharing this part right here. And so, Serena and Esmer, I hope that was helpful. I hope that made some sense, at least in terms of how to set up the word problems. Like I said, I know we didn't get a chance to do number 7, but number 5 and number 6 were real similar. So I'm hoping that after like doing 5 and 6, that like number 7, that you guys might be able to kind of, you know, figure it out. Remember tomorrow night, from 6:30 until however long it takes us, the idea was I was going to answer any questions out of the review. So what I really wanted y'all to do was, you know, work on the review between now and then. I'm going to stop recording.